And we're back.
Yes.
Right here on Double Talk.
Being rude.
We're talking about, we started to talk about weeds, weedy yards.
Weedy yards.
And 'tis the season now for weeds. They're cropping up everywhere, and once we get some rain, they're really going to crop up. We can expect rain in about a month.
When?
In a
month.
Yeah.
We're on what?
About 100 days?
No, last week we're on, we're getting close. I think we were last week,
3
day
months.
91 or 92.
Right, we've got 3 months.
How many days has
or
it been
more
since our last show?
No rain.
7 days.
7 days, yeah.
It's close to 100. I think the record is 106.
Really?
Something like that.
Well, we could easily push that record. But when it does rain, we will have weeds. Then we'd have some weeds as it is, and people are getting arrested for them.
So we did get so your garden's growing nicely, it looks like.
Yeah,
I
need some new windows, as you can see. But
well, no, if you wash what you have, you get rid of all that lack of glass.
Well, people who live with a
porch.
lot of windows shouldn't throw rocks, I guess.
You know, people who live in screen houses shouldn't throw rocks either, because you break the screens. So, or tents, I believe.
But
you're talking about the weedy lady, the lady that got arrested.
Because she had too many weeds. She was out of town when they gave her the notice that she had too many weeds.
Shackle me up.
So she never did that, and I guess they send her, I don't know, a fine to pay, and she never did that because she was out of town. So she goes to court to pay a traffic ticket she had, and while she was there, they looked her up and they said, "Oh, we have a warrant for your arrest because you didn't pull your weeds." And they arrested her right on the spot and took her to jail because she had too many weeds.
Book 'em, Weedo.
That's right.
That's what happened, and she apologized, and she redid her house. She was out of town. She wasn't living in the house. She had never re-registered who the property, where her new address was, so they didn't know where to send.
She got to another state to do some work with her husband.
Yeah,
and during that time, the weeds
Tucson
took off.
Phoenix. And well, that's not exactly what happened because that was not her house. And she did a nice job, and she realigned herself with the community, I believe. And
so what kind of
made amends?
What kind of
code department do we have? Is that what your question is?
What kind of a crime is it when you have too many weeds and you don't take care of them? Is that a weed infraction?
It's a
codes violation.
It's a crime of abundance because you have abundant weeds, and you shouldn't those weeds get into other people's lawns and give them weeds because of the seeds.
Right.
So
well, the advice is if you have a house and nobody's living there, and you're going to be out of town, have somebody looking out for the yard, somebody who can take care of it, and if it gets too weedy, they can weed it for you.
Well, or you can do what I've done to my backyard. Agent Orange.
Oh, really?
Agent Orange works very well. It's hard to get the airplane to dive in and spread the Agent Orange just on your lawn, but you never tell your neighbors who hired the plane.
Well, you get one of those little remote control helicopters. They do a pretty good job.
That's always good.
So anyway, and speaking of
what are we speaking of?
Codes and laws. The city is considering putting those traffic cameras in school zones now.
These are two of you. This should go in your peeve section because this is two of your pet peeves: traffic cameras.
Yes, and school zones.
And school zones.
Well, the Red Flex Systems, which is the company that owns the cameras, is trying to convince the city that they need to put traffic cams in 7 school zones around Las Cruces.
Those are good pictures of that.
That's what our school zones are going to look like eventually.
Well, I think they could save a lot of money by putting reflective vests on the children, and that would enable you to actually go as fast as you want and have the kids reflect on what they're doing.
Well,
you just keep your lights on when you're going through there, then you'll see them, you'll get blinded, and then you drive into them anyway.
See, my problem is
15 miles an hour.
They're 15 miles an hour as it is. They all have crossing guards.
Yes.
And many of these school zones are at intersections with traffic lights already, so the kids can't cross until your light turns red anyway. And for instance, at Mayfield and Las Cruces High School, they've put up school zones there, 15 miles an hour. There's intersections where they can cross at a light, and if they want to cross in the middle of the road,
they won't do that.
It's a vacant lot at both high schools right across the street, so there's nowhere for them to go anyway.
They cross over to their neighborhood.
It's just a big waste and it's overkill.
Those of you watching right now, you probably don't realize it, but right now we're going 15 miles an hour. This is what it looks like, right?
Well, when you drive,
it's 50. This is how 15 miles an hour feels. You're driving like this. Here we're going, 15 miles an hour.
Well, my pet peeve is they have a lot of these school zone lights flashing when they don't need to be flashing. They turn them on too soon.
Yes.
and they leave them on too late.
And with your epilepsy, this distracts you, and you usually go into fits, right?
Well,
you start.
I hate driving by a school at 5:30 in the evening and the school zone lights are still flashing.
That's because they're having a PTA meeting or
Not
something.
necessarily. That means adults are there, and I think they know how to cross the street.
They
and
usually
so,
park in the parking lot
right.
anyway.
And so at 5:30 in the evening, you're obliged to go 15 miles an hour because some cop will pull you over, give you a ticket because the school zone light was flashing.
Well, if you looked around where a school light is flashing and determined that there are no cops, don't you feel like you could get through it? I mean, really, you could justify it, especially at 5:30. You could say, well, I thought it was a broken light. At 5:30, there's nobody going to school at 5:30.
You'll have to go to tell that to the judge and take a day off
You
of
love
work.
doing that, and you don't have to take a day off of work.
You
asked me to go with you.
may.
We go sit there,
No,
we
you
talk
volunteered.
to people. That's because I wasn't doing anything.
Because you weren't doing anything,
As
yeah.
usual. But yes, 5:30 doesn't make sense having school lights.
I think the crossing guards themselves should be able to operate the lights. They don't need to turn the lights on until the first child shows up to cross. At that point, the lights can stay flashing until all the kids have gone through.
Well, what kind of training do those flashing guards get? Maybe they don't get enough training to know how to turn the light on.
Well, they don't have the ability to because they're set
They
up.
don't have a key.
They're controlled in one central location, and they come on and they all go off at the same time.
Well,
I've spoken with those guards, and they've told me that.
have you actually seen people going more than 15 miles an hour through school places?
No,
I don't really.
not really.
I don't know if it's really worth.
Except for cops.
Yeah, but they get their lights flashing, and then the kids run out and look. But I don't think it's really worth it to have these stop and go lights at school crossing places because usually, unless they mean, there is a school crossing thing on Telshore. People from Hillrise.
Yes.
That's a pretty exciting road because that's a fast road, and there's no evident school nearby, but there is a school there.
Right. Well.
But I usually see people slow down.
Anyway, speaking of school zones, graduation is coming up, and actually the
Only
university.
for some people.
The university is already graduating.
They're out of here.
But the high schools will be graduating soon.
They don't have to worry about getting run over anymore.
And once
Once you
graduation
graduate
comes
school,
along, that means
you're safe.
the schools are out and there'll be no more school zones to worry about for 3 months. Yay.
And that'll give them time to dicker about
What?
Dicker. Look it up in your Funk and Wagner.
All right, Doc.
Yes, and you'll see they'll discuss this, and they'll put out some students. They'll put the flashing lights out for a while, throw a student out, see if it works. If the student gets killed, student doesn't get killed, then no need for a light.
It culls the herd of the dumb ones.
That's a good idea. If you pass your exams, there's still one more. Reality.
Yeah.
Driving.
Which reminds me, New Mexico.
Since graduation is here.
New Mexico now has the
Yes.
distinction of having 41%, in Las Cruces, 41% of the mothers are unwed. In other words, they've never been married
Yes.
when they give birth. And and most of them are under 17 years of age.
I think that's from Alaska. I think that's supposed to be Bristol
isn't
Palin.
that Bristol
So
Palin?
Alaska probably has a pretty high unwed mother ratio too.
Well, she lives in California now.
That's right. She's got her own TV show. But it doesn't mean that just because you're an unwed mother, you can get your own TV show. But you have your own baby, and this is a big thing in Las Cruces and New Mexico. Is some people at a certain age, some women like to have.
Well, as
babies.
soon as they have a baby, they
Like
can
to have babies.
instantly go on welfare.
Well, that's not why they do it. They do it to have something that they can love and will love them back.
They don't realize when the kid gets to a certain age, he hates their guts and he runs away.
I know, but you can wait for 7 years.
Then you have another
7 years, yeah. Have another one, and then you have a babysitter who hates you but loves the little baby because it's cute.
Well, my question is,
So, what's your question?
if they're having babies under the age of 17,
Yes,
that means these girls are being raped.
that would be true.
because
if they could finger,
17 is the age of consent in New Mexico. So if they're having sex under the age of 17, technically they're being statutorily raped.
no matter what.
Why
No matter what.
aren't the fathers of these girls being charged?
It doesn't matter how old the guy is; he's still raping somebody.
And where's the parents of the guys and the daughters?
And where's the responsibility? But it's not up to
It's
us.
New
It's up
Mexico,
to their
Jake.
parents. It's up to It's pretty much what the cities are here. There's no Quakers in Las Cruces. Oh, okay. There's a few Quakers, but they're too busy quaking.
Listen,
they're not doing the
well,
dirty.
listen, if these teenage girls want something to love, they can go out and adopt a pet. They can get a dog or a cat. And there's pet adoptions going on today
And have sex with them?
on the downtown mall.
Oh, no. Yes.
And also,
You love pets, don't you?
of course I do.
Yeah,
Look
are
at
you
that. Who
are
wouldn't
you
want
happy
a
that that
dog or a
dog?
cat?
Are you glad that that dog from Mississippi that was found here is actually going to be sent back to Mississippi?
I love that story.
That's a good story.
It's a good
Yeah,
story.
he had a little thing in his ear, according to you.
And you can go to the downtown mall today. It's the 40th anniversary of the farmers market on the downtown mall.
Today, Saturday.
Saturday. Well, this year they're having celebrations all year.
We have an excellent farmers market.
They have live music.
Service is great.
And it's ranked in the top 10 of downtown farmers markets in the country.
Have you seen the multicolored eggs they have there?
Yes, I have.
Those are cool. They have green eggs. You
And
know, you
they're-
talk about green eggs and ham. I don't know if they have green ham, but they have green eggs.
Well, yeah, green and tan and what kind of
All
bluish?
kind- bluish. Funny, you don't look bluish. Anyhow, doesn't that make you hungry? Don't you feel like we should go and have some green eggs and ham?
Well, you have the ham. I'll have the eggs.
I'll have kosher ham.
Kosher ham?
Yes.
Where do you get that?
You just have to cook it enough until the evil spirits go.
The evil spirits.
Yes, you didn't know that, huh? Well, it's a little known fact. Anyhow, we're going to have to leave for now
We're out of time.
and see you next week.
Thanks for joining us right here on Double Talk.